Boom. What's going on, Sha?
Uh, um, I am just a sack full of noises
Yeah.
at this point. I don't even know how to make words anymore. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, let's discuss because I don't think I saw it here in what we've planned to discuss. So I just want to go ahead and get into, and this may get me in trouble. I don't know. Who knows? I'm always worried, oh no, I'm going to get smoke. And then I'm also like, but you can mute the internet. You can always shut it
This is
off.
true.
So um, I'm just so sensitive, everybody. But the verses, the Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers verses.
Yes.
Right. So really, I think what I want to talk about is knowing what you need for the type of job. who can do the type of job and what you actually need for the position is what I want to discuss. So it's a great versus these two bands, each kind of in their own worlds,
Right.
but very compatible and just a deep catalog on both ends.
Right.
I mean, the Isley Brothers have been making music, I believe, for the dinosaurs, and like, it's wild. And so when it was announced, they also brought in Steve Harvey to host, and now this was the first versus with a host, right?
Yeah.
And I understand why they picked Steve Harvey. Did you watch or listen to any of this versus?
Yeah, I did not see. I didn't see it live. I saw, I would say, about 40 minutes in replay.
Oh, so you barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, I basically,
it was 4 hours.
Yeah, I saw, I would say, at least 3 outfits that I want to wear, and I was like, I don't know if I could deal with the level of jealousy that I'm currently like growing in my heart, knowing that this many 70 to 80-year-old men have way more swag than I ever will. So yeah, and
well, they always will. It's something that you have to accept until you're like 60.
yeah,
that you're for the most part swagless until then. Swag comes with age, babies. Sorry.
I'm seeing it. I'm learning.
So here's what I need to ask you. Was Steve Harvey talking when at the part that you were watching?
He was not, no.
Okay. How many songs played? Did a number of songs play and he wasn't speaking?
Yeah, I
Okay. So because there's a definite line. So Steve Harvey came in and kind of did what Steve Harvey does, which is basically tell all the young bloods what you know about that there. Y'all know nothing about that. Over and over, ad nauseum. Fine. But it was and you had Ron and Ernie Isley for the Isley Brothers, and then you had Philip and is it Verdine?
Yeah.
Why? And then the other guy for Earth, Wind, and Fire for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
So they were doing the versus thing where you play a song on one side, and then whoever's the artist for that song may say a little something about that song. Then you play the other side, and that artist may say a little something about that song. But with Steve Harvey there, Steve Harvey was basically being Steve Harvey, which was not the energy we needed. What you needed was someone who could interview the bands to kind of get them talking a little bit more,
right?
And then let them feel comfortable about sharing stories. What you don't need is someone who's going to tell his story over everyone and then admonish anybody else from liking it because y'all don't know about that there, as if he's the only person who ever listened to both the Isleys and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And you certainly don't need someone to do that for almost 2 hours like Steve Harvey did.
Well, who do you think would be a better choice for the job, Sha?
Well, other names were tossed out there. I don't know if you remember Donnie Simpson, right? Donnie Simpson from Video Soul on BET.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes. His name was tossed out there. Tom Joyner's name was tossed out there. Look, anyone, they could have just someone who understood how to interview. And Steve Harvey is a talk show host, and he hosts Family Feud, but he's not someone you go to for a more journalistic approach. Do you know what I mean? So he talked a lot.
Okay.
He talked a lot. And he's a comedian. So he talked about himself a lot. And he talked a lot. And then he also talked a lot. And so the comments, it's been so funny to me to even watch, So I was watching it. I was excited about it because I had already had Earth, Wind, and Fire on my heart for about 2 weeks prior. Like, for some reason, one song got into my head, and I was just like, oh, I really want to hear Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I swear to God, the next day they were like, the next verses is Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isley Brothers. And I went, great. I won't listen to any.
Okay.
Because this Verzuz is coming up. I'll certainly hear the song I'm thinking of on the Verzuz.
Right.
Fantastic. So I start watching, and this motherfucker keeps talking, and I'm like, man, fuck this. And I cut it off, and then I'd go back to it, hoping to hear music, and it's just him talking the whole time. So people in the comments are just like, yo, Steve, shut up. And I don't mean like, like music fan 42069 people in the comments.
Right.
I mean like Fat Joe was like, hey, man. You know what I mean? Like, people, because it's a Verzuz. So, I mean, there are people in there. Lots of blue checks are in the IG comments, and they're just like, hey, man. So, and then, on Twitter, people are roasting Steve Harvey. So I guess there's like a halfway point. Also, the DJ was D-Nice. So they got America's favorite internet DJ to DJ this thing, to play the music, right? Steve ain't even calling him D-Nice. Go ahead, DJ Nice. Go on. Come on, Nice. Go on. Just play whatever. Just waving his hand at him as if he's the waiter. hey, bring me my next track or whatever. And it was wild. And so at some point, D-Nice is like, hey, Steve, you want to go ahead and take a little break? And he's like, oh, yeah, we probably all got to go to the bathroom anyway. And so they all scurry out. And Steve Harvey's like, we're going to take a 10-minute break. That was a 25-minute break. And I'm like, well, I mean, they are old men. They probably did have to go pee, They had costume changes, I think. I think Steve changed from a purple suit to a blue suit. You had to catch it. It was definitely a different color hat, for sure.
Do it up, Steve.
Yeah, so that's close to 2 hours in. Right. And I missed whatever songs were played because every time I went to check back on it, Steve was talking. So they come back in. Steve is like, okay, we hear you. Here we go. Go ahead, D-Nice, play the first track. And he sits down. Now, the thing that you're talking about fashion, you may be talking about Ronald Isley having on a chinchilla coat.
Yeah.
Or like a brocade suit. The chinchilla coat is damn near floor length. He had that on in the first half. Steve, while he's talking, is smoking a cigar right next to this chinchilla coat. And I swear to God, if you smoke a cigar near my chinchilla coat, there's going to be smoke in the city. Do you understand? We're going to have problems.
That's what was such a flex to me, that Ron didn't even react. Like, to him, it was like, this is just one of my chinchillas anyway. Like, this is my Tuesday chinchilla.
I was going to give this away anyway.
I was like, yo, like, this is another level of flex. Like, this ruining my chinchilla is completely fine.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. You know what? Just take it with you. You like it so much, you want to blow your little cigar smoke on it. Go on, take it with you. At some point, Steve's up there with him. He's got the chinchilla over his shoulders. Like, he's up in the mix like he is, a Jasper to the Isley Brothers, or like he's air to Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean? Like he's water or whatever. Yeah. So he's just all up in the mix with the chinchilla coat on. And he already got on a shark skin suit as it is. So like, it's a lot. It was a lot of Steve Harvey. So when they come back from the break, Steve Harvey's just like, okay, first track. We'll give the people what they want. And then they just go track for track for track. Steve don't say shit. Steve just sitting back in the cut, letting his cigar burn, looking butthurt. Because I'm thinking what happened was they pulled him aside during the break and they were like, nigga, shut up.
Yeah.
Got to stop people. I'm sure they said it in a much nicer way, but I'm sure they were like, look, we're seeing these comments. People are, there are songs we haven't even gotten to. It's taking the stories in between are a little distracting. Maybe if we could just let them talk more, or if we could just move through the song, you know what I mean? But maybe not so much with the talking. And I guess he got butt hurt or something. So they went through a lot of songs. They went through so many songs, and I was just like, well, shit, what did they play in the first half?
Not a damn thing.
Yeah, because I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire played Let's Groove Tonight in the first half, and I was just like, well, what are they going to do in the second half? Oh, they had plenty, but I just thought they would have burned some of those already. It was great. So after Steve shut up, it was an extremely enjoyable experience. It was wonderful. Oh boy, it was really great. I enjoyed it once, Steve. But of course, halfway through, Steve was like, y'all out there with your little thumbs and your Twitter fingers complaining. You don't understand. We old people. The songs. He also was complaining about basically what a versus is. Like, I don't understand why we got to pit these two together and how you just going to play that much of the song. These songs, we made 11. You didn't make no songs, Steve, first off. You made 11-minute songs, and you got to wait till the middle part. I don't understand why y'all can't just play the whole song. Are you going to pay for the rights on this, Steve, or no? What you going to do? But he showed, the thing that he said that to me was the most annoying was he came out, and he was like, this is brought to you by Ciroc. Now, they ain't pay me, so they're going to have to cut me a check, because they didn't pay me to say that. Yes, they did. You're the host. You're the host. Your job as the host is to say who the whole shebang is sponsored by. So yeah, they did pay you. They did pay you to say that.
That's literally the thing.
That's the job. That's the job. So this is really just for Timbo and Swizzy.
Okay.
If we're going to do hosts again, which I'm seeing people probably don't necessarily want that, but if you want to do that, maybe don't go comedian.
Okay.
Maybe go more music person or someone who actually knows how to do interviews.
Okay.
And who can let it breathe, not someone who wants to make sure their story is inserted into it. Now I've seen defenses for Steve Harvey where they're like, he was probably nervous. He's up there with his idols. Okay. And he's they're trying to get him to sing along, and he's singing along with them and all this shit. He's getting to blow smoke on Shalewa.
Hey, listen, when I saw the comments, like I didn't see a lot of his part of it. Thankfully, since I got to see it afterward, I just got to see the part of the verses that everyone liked, which was the songs. Right. So there
were still 2 hours of that, by the way. The second half was still 2 hours long.
So I peeped a lot of that, but like when I was reading the comments of what went down, and I gained like a real appreciation. And I never thought I'd say this, but I gained a real appreciation for Ryan Seacrest and Carson Daly. Like,
Thank you.
There is a skill in shutting the fuck up and knowing how little and how much to say, and like being visible without being distracting, and controlling the room all at once. It's a talent. They know how to keep the thing moving, and they gain attention and focus it, and not on them. It's a gift. They do it well. They use different skills to do it. One of them is overtly handsome. The other one's overtly regular. And
right. But keep in mind, Carson Daly was the host for TRL, which was nothing but teenage female hormones. I'm surprised they didn't rip that studio to shreds every day. Just so that they could see an NSYNC video. I'm surprised they didn't bust the windows out of that joint. And he, every day, was just like, all right, y'all. Okay, next up, look, here's Christina Aguilera's going to come in. And he managed to control the room.
Real talk. Carson Daly is, like, every TRL should have been played for every substitute teacher in America. I felt like
on how to
this is how you handle your classroom when you show up and you don't know anybody. You don't know what kid is what. This is how you handle it. You know, he was a master at it. But yeah, I saw those reviews and I was like, yo, this dude is dope at what he does, but this ain't what he does.
But he does. Right. Exactly.
He can't do it
Everything
no
he
more.
does, except for Family Feud, has his name on it.
Yeah.
And I think you should get someone who knows what the Verzuz is about, that it's about celebrating the music in some way. So you want to let the music talk and you want to let the artists talk because you've got them there as well.
Yeah.
And you want to let them have their moment. And it's going to be hard to have their moment, but with you in the middle blowing smoke and talking about what you used to do as a child, nobody cares.
At least not that group. That's it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, you know, a lot of his comments were like, you young dudes don't understand or appreciate this or whatever. And then he was doing the ignorant shit. Like, to your point, like, how do you not know D-Nice? Like, you know, like, again, I'm not expecting you to know him before, but you got hired to host the show. I'm sure
got hired to host the show.
Yeah, I'm sure they mentioned, hey, this DJ, kind of a big deal. You know, Obama kind of fuck with him. And,
right.
you know, like, he's pretty cool. You know, admittedly, maybe not as big of a star for your generation as the two bands. I'll give you that. The two groups, incredible. But he is of note, you know, like, he's noteworthy. So, you know, get to know his name a little bit. I want you to get familiar. It's a little tricky. It's 2 syllables. It's a letter and a word. You know, so just try that out.
Right.
Make sure you get that down. But yeah, like it, and then, you know, to your point, like not understanding how the format works. Like, you know, there's a reason why you couldn't play the whole songs. To your point, there's, you know, stuff that had to get paid. The way the thing originated, it was IG Live for an hour before it got cut off. Like, there was limitations to what they could do. So yeah, it's evolved from that. So that's why this is how it is. But there's a history that led to it, and if you knew any of that. It would have shown in your hosting. Yeah, you'd understand.
You'd understand. So I just feel like that. And I mean, he just, oh, Steve. Also, I mean, and maybe this is just my personal slight on Steve Harvey. Hasn't he been talking like he's an old man for the past 30 years? I mean, I just did the math. He's an old man now, but that's still, when did original Kings of Comedy come out? 2000? Something like that? Yeah. So, but that still puts him at like middle age then. And he was saying all this stuff. And I was just like, well, how old are you? You know what I mean? Like, I figured out the age. And I was just like, I mean, okay, but it's not, I don't know. You know, nostalgia, it hits you when you least expect it. And you just kind of, you either decide to just roll around in it and nothing else, or you can kind of take it with you, but also still evolve. And I'm not sure he's evolving too much. Also, he doesn't like rap. And it's wild to have him with these two bands who have been heavily sampled.
Yeah.
Like, to not have that conversation. He was complaining at the second half. He was complaining about, you know, these young folks, they don't know nothing, blah, blah, blah. And Ron Isley was like, well, I mean, I like the young people. And I'm like, yeah. First of all, yeah, nigga, I bet you do. But secondly, like, yeah, because the young people used your shit and now you're paid.
Yeah. Those
so
checks,
you like the young people.
Yeah, those checks have kept coming. You know, for a reason. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he was the right host. I love his work ethic. But he's not the.
I'm with my camera right now, but keep talking.
Yeah, he just wasn't the guy for it. I would have even been cool if they you're really adamant about having a king of comedy. I don't know why you'd want this limitation, but. You know, they're great guys. Just, you know, maybe expand your horizons for who can host this. But if you had to have one, I would go Cedric.
Absolutely, I go Cedric every time.
Yeah.
I'm a Cedric the entertainer Stan.
Yeah.
Love him.
And like,
But I think he would have gotten it.
yeah, like I feel of the kings of comedy, Cedric to me was the one that knew best when to make it about me or about the squad or someone else. The others are
Right.
great about being the center because, admittedly, we're stand-ups. You are always the center usually. I get it, but that's not what this job was. You know, I need you to pontificate for 40 minutes. You know what
I swear to God. Oh, it was a lot. And also, let it be known that the irony is not lost on me that I did just talk about this for probably 15 minutes.
I'm about to say, like,
About
we didn't
how
even get into the
much
news
Steve
this week.
Harvey, about how much that's how heavy it's been on my heart. And also just like, but it's also how much I've been thinking about, oh, you need to be the right person for that job.
Yeah.
So that actually got me thinking about that kind of thing of just like when you are thinking about what it is that you want to do, if it's something that's like multifaceted, or if you're doing a thing like you've started doing comedy, but you can get from that, you can go into many places.
Yeah.
Where is it that you want to get to go? And are you truly equipped for that?
That's real.
Yeah, so that's just something that I've been thinking about just with regards to like work and my relationship with comedy and all that stuff. I'm just like, am I going to come in and Steve Harvey the place, or am I going to try to be, you know what I mean? So like, not everyone can host, and it's more of a skill than, I think you realize. And I understand why they picked Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey for, like I said, 20, 25 years have been talking about how the young people don't know shit and old music is the only way to go. So I'm sure they announced that. Steve Harvey was like, damn, they should get me to host. And they were like, yeah, we should get him to host. And then they got him to host. And it's like, oh, okay, so if we do this again, we're going to have to really think it through. But I don't think they're going to do it again. Like, I think they're going to, like, their next one is going to be like Meth and Red. And it's like, who wants to host that? Let them be them.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's just fun, but you got to get out the way. Like, that's their event.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Steve would have been great for this if it was actually like a versus, like they were competing against each other and like they were going to a panel to check the score. Like if
so like family,
like if it was his other job, he'd be great at it. But I don't think this was the ideal format for the guy. With that said, I don't think he needs anyone's consolation. Like, he's doing.
Oh no, he's gonna be fine.
Be good with those checks. He's chilling.
He's gonna be fine.
You know what I mean?
He's absolutely gonna be fine. At no point. I mean, like, I say this about Steve Harvey, knowing full well he's great, and this isn't even on some old like hater shit. Like, I'm mad it ain't me. No, I'm not. It was Steve Harvey. It's gonna be Steve Harvey. He's gonna be okay. This ain't hate. This is just what I saw and how I was just like, oh Lord, but that motherfucker's gonna be just fine.
And the last thing I'll say that blew my mind on this is his lack of understanding of how much kids want to relate to their parents and grandparents.
Yes.
Like, he's right. Maybe kids don't know the context, but I guarantee you a lot of kids and grandkids knew, oh, this is shit grandma or mom knows. And because of that, I think there was far more people that did know about that shit that was watching, because their kids was like, hey, you remember that Verzuz shit that I was playing the whole quarantine that you kept saying turn that shit off? Well, this week they playing the shit you like.
Right.
So there was a lot of people from that actual demo that were watching, and they were the ones pissed off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're like, yo,
play the music, man.
Like, my kids set up the computer on the TV. Why am I watching you? I see them in the background. I want to see them.
Right.
I don't want to see you talk. I see you all the time on Channel 7 with the Family Feud. That's where you belong. I don't want to see you talking now.
there's a guy, a DJ, I think, or D-Funk, Deephunk. I think he's on Twitter that way. And he did an after versus like show of some sort on Twitch afterwards. And he had another DJ on with him. And I think he was supposed to have some other DJs who weren't able to make it. So he kind of zoomed with his parents.
Yeah.
And his parents like grew up in New York.
Okay.
And like were like big music fans, they were out running the streets in the 70s. They were seeing them in shows. They had lots of opinions. And so he had them on the show just to like say, hey, what'd you think of it? And they ended up staying on the show. It was like 2 hours on Twitch. And it is hilarious.
Okay.
His parents are so on top of shit. His mother is hilarious. And it was a chance for people to listen to someone who lived through that as a young person, as a person in their 20s. And real connections were made. It was great to hear that perspective. And then, the mom would just ask the other DJ, like her son's friend, like, well, do you have such and such record or do you enjoy this? Like really having that conversation between the generations was amazing and so much fun. And that is like, I think the true spirit of Verzuz.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, look that up on Twitch and see if you can find that, because he taped it. And I watched it like the following day, and it was a lot of fun listening to them break it down that way. And, don't worry, Steve gonna be all right. Trust me. Don't cry for him, Argentina, and don't come for me, Steve Harvey.
I will say, Sha, that was the most like Gen X way of giving directions to something online ever. You like kind of like spelled the guy's name.
I spelled it's Deephunk. You'll
like,
find
I think
shit.
this is him. You know what I mean? This is how you spell it. He's something like this online. He did a video on Twitch with his mom. Look it up. You know what I'm talking about. You ain't talking about addresses and links.
Look, if you know what Twitch is, you go to Twitch, you put in his name, the rest will fill itself out.
Yeah,
what do you want from me?
It has been a lot of fun watching you become what you hate, and you became Steve Harvey during this whole rant, right?
I know. I was like, I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
Well,
the only difference is my name's on the thing. If you came here, you came here to hear Gastor or Shalewa. Now, if you came here looking for me to host, I would never do this while hosting two things. Again,
that is fair. That is fair.
I am an old person. I do have an idea as to when someone is trying to hear what I have to say.
I love it. Hey, listen.
And I have no problem shutting up. If it's, you don't want to hear from me? Cool. That's okay.
No, they come here for it. And I told you very directly, my mission statement is to get a Shalewa soapbox moment every week. I don't even want to do the articles. I'm good. We could end the show. Let's get into the news. We go right to the credits. I'm happy. I don't care what happened this week. You know what I mean?
No, we got to do news, for the love of God. Nobody wants 20 to 30 minutes of me ranting about Steve Harvey. This is why, hey, kids, don't start a podcast, because what happens is one day they catch you off guard. Next thing you know, you've been complaining about a king of comedy for entirely too long.
Oh, man.
You just black out, and when you come to, your nose is bleeding. And you're like, what happened? And there's a turned over ring light across the room. You don't know what happened.
Shalewa's cat has been hiding for half hour.
Yeah, the cat's like, I'm not going out there now. This bitch is still talking about Steve Harvey. It's been 2 days, bitch. Get over it. It's what my cat is thinking. I get it. That's fair. That's fair.
Hey.
And then 2 more days until you even hear this. We'll probably forget what Verzuz is by the time this comes out. Who knows?
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're here. Let's do some news.
I mean, let's do some, right?
Why not? If we have to, Sha.
Oh, gee.
Rita Wilson explains why she and Tom Hanks haven't been vaccinated yet. Back in March of 2020, Rita Wilson and her husband, Tom Hanks, were, props to them for kind of like reversing that. It's always like, wife of Tom Hanks. I like that.
Right.
Yeah, Rita Wilson and her husband, Tom Hanks, were among the first of a group of celebrities who announced that they had tested positive for COVID-19. Wilson recently shared that she and her husband of more than 30 years have yet to get vaccinated. Talking to Today, the actress-singer explained why they had not yet gotten their shots. How about hearing this for the first time in your life? You're not old enough. And she said, she's like, it's okay, I'll take it. As a joke, I'm assuming, slash compliment. Yeah, I this whole article just felt like a flex for her to say that, hey, I'm not that old. Shouts to Rita Wilson. Leveraging that moment right there. She is apparently not 65. She is only 64. And thus, she wanted to be able to say that one last time.
One last time before we come and rip her youth from her.
But I'm really hyped with I did not see this when I initially put this article down. I'm genuinely hyped with CNN making her the center and making her the possessive of Tom Hanks. I so rarely see that. It genuinely was refreshing. I don't know who the author was of this, but that's dope. Like,
yeah, I mean, you got to give her props.
Yeah, she's successful. Like, I've gotten to articles where it'll be like Rita Wilson, like mother of like Chet. Like, geez, like you don't even like you'll reference a really unsuccessful, annoying kid, and you still won't like give her props for like what she did first. So yeah,
right.
Like it was dope to kind of see that. But yeah, I'm glad you're not old yet, Rita. Yeah, I don't know if you heard, if you come to New York, you can get your stuff now. They're letting people over 35 do all that. So yeah, come over here.
Yeah.
And you good to rock, get your shots.
Yeah, and also, not that we want to make it about him, but please make sure Tom gets his too.
Mm-hmm.
He's America's dad.
Yeah. I like Tom. Tom is cool.
Which is wild. It's wild, but he's a national treasure. So let's just go on. They already had him out in the cold on inauguration night. I don't know if you saw that. If you remember that. But on inauguration night, they had their celebration. It was on like all the networks and everything. And Tom Hanks was the host.
Yeah.
And oh my God, they freeze that poor man out there.
Oh my God. It's not right.
You could see him the blood just draining from him as he's just out there shivering. So for that alone, I think they should have been at the front of the line, but that's okay.
I'm on board with it. You do whatever you gotta do. Only white folks that can cash in some privilege in my book. Let them do it. That dude was in Philadelphia and was phenomenal. Let him do what he wants. I'm okay with it. I watched like this week, coincidentally, I was watching TV with the missus, and this what was the movie that like it was that movie where like they realized that him and the blonde lady had good chemistry, so they just made the movie over again.
Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
So was it You've Got Mail?
Yeah, is that it? The one with the bookstore?
Yes.
Yeah. So we watched that, and I had to like explain to like my daughter like what was happening. Like she was like, so what are those boxes that are popping up? Like what? Like I'm like, oh, that's them messaging each other, and she's like, okay. So how did they not know it was the other one? I was like, because they had the screen names, they didn't have their real names, and she's like, but they ain't have pictures. I was like, you know how long that would have took to send? Like, people ain't got scanners like that. Like, it was crazy. She's like, a scanner. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh wow. Oh Lord.
Yeah, she was not comprehending a lot of the technology. I had to like really like walk her through that. She was like, so what do you mean? She's like, yeah, like if you took a picture, you had to take it somewhere to get printed, right? I've shown you that. So like you would get the picture back a week later, and then you would spend like the rest of your life trying to find someone who had a scanner.
Find a scanner. Yeah.
And together y'all would go through all your pictures that year, and they would scan one of your pictures like as a favor, because even though they had a scanner, they ain't got time for your shit. So like they weren't scanning like 10 pictures for you. They scanned a picture, and then they would give it to you.
Because inside a scanner, it wasn't machinery. It was a tiny little painter who was painting who with his little brushes was recreating the picture. And that is what you actually have.
Yeah, I swear up until like 2000, I don't know anybody that had more than 3 pictures up until like 2005. So I didn't know how it worked. But and nobody had like just the picture. Like if it was your first picture, you could tell because they didn't know how to use the scanner. So it was like the picture and like way too much white border. You know, it was just the whole like 8 by 11. But yeah, I had to walk her through the technology back then. So yeah, it was a fun experience explaining to her how AIM works. So yeah, shout out to Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks, the young 64-year-olds. I hope they're living good. Jimmy Fallon responds to the backlash over Addison Rae's Tick-Tock dance segment. That's right. Jimmy Fallon has addressed the controversy over a recent segment on The Tonight Show with Tick-Tock star Addison Rae. The show received criticism for not giving credit to the mostly black creators of the dances Rae and Fallon performed together in an episode on March 26. On our last show before the break, we did a bit with Addison Rae where she taught me 8 viral dances that were viral on TikTok. We recognize that these creators deserve credit and should have their own spotlight. So they brought them all on. They brought in a lot of them to kind of like shine some light on them. He specifically spoke to me and Nicole Johnson and Chris Cotter, who created the Up Dance, Dorian Scott of Corvette fame, for Quan Powell, and Kamira Franklin of the Laffy Taffy, Adam Snyder and Nate Nail, and Great Doll from Blinding Lights, and Kiera Wilson, who choreographed Moose Savage. Normally I would not read all those names, but I'll be damned if I read the white people names and not the actual creators. So I just it's the principle.
Right.
But yeah, the segment, I mean, initially shot when I saw it, I didn't even think of this layer of it, and I'm glad it got brought up. I'm glad it got recognized and that they addressed it. I was just mad that they brought someone on who was like just sort of dancing okay. Like that alone got me pissed off. I'm like, you know how hard comics work for a late night set, and she's on TV right now kind of dancing.
Right.
Like, you for real me? Like, and even if it's like on some TikTok shit, like there's people doing insanity on TikTok dance wise. And she is like kind of like doing the move.
Yeah.
She didn't like there wasn't a single one of the 8 dances she did where I was like, yo, she might be one of the best people that does that. Not one time.
Yeah, no, at no point. Yeah.
I don't think there's a single party she's been to in her life where she was one of the best people doing the dance move, let alone enough to be on TV.
I think she only started dancing with TikTok. I'm a little concerned about the TikTok dances in general because they're all geared towards the camera, and no one really bends or like the knees. I don't know. There's something about like there's something to a simple 2-step. I'm just saying. And I feel like we've gone straight into like shimmies and shit and very like hard choreography. Like God bless these kids. But if you think we doing that when the world opens up, like It's just going to be a bunch of people by themselves, just kind of. And I'm like, I mean, that's fine because that's how I dance personally, is by myself without anyone around, hoping they don't see my arms flailing.
Right.
It's just not TikTok ready. But like, so I'm a little. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like just clubs of this Addison Rae girl just kind of half-ass doing these dances, and I don't want to see that when I finally decide to go back out into the streets. I don't want to see the people in the park doing that. You know what I mean? I want to see you like go. I want to be like, I want to yell yeek. I want to do these kinds of things. But
I'm
yeah,
with you. Incorporate some yeeks, you know what I mean? How big do these kids think these clubs are? Like, I don't got room to set up cameras.
They don't, honestly, I don't think they take into account any body shape other than their own when they do it. Because they're young. You got to have the metabolism of a 14-year-old. So already that takes out many people.
Agreed.
Because you've been drinking, you have on heels, you got shoes on, you don't want anyone to step on, and now you want me out here like doing very tough choreography with my arms and moving around and all this other, like, no, I'm not doing that. Where do I put my drink? How do I do this with a drink in my hand?
Yeah, yo, I swear you can't see me right now. This whole time I was doing moves trying to see if I could do them while holding on to the can.
While holding a drink, and can't you? You
like,
can't.
Nope, can't do that
No,
one. Can't do that one.
Nope. So now it's just going to be a lot of spillage, which is going to lead to fights because we're all too keyed up. It's danger. Yeah. It's dangerous. So I'm glad that these kids got their shine, but I also want them to really realize what they're putting out there in the world.
Yo, follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna start teaching y'all a whole bunch of new dances I'm gonna make that are strictly centered around holding half-filled cans. Drinks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all I work on. All of my dances are just gonna be that, like a lot of shoulders, but no.
A lot of shoulders. Yeah. These young people, they're doing shoulders in different ways, and you're like, my mom don't even do this shit, and it's like, yeah, because your mom's tired, one, and two, because she don't want to spill her drink. So it's just mostly shoulders and tight arms right under right by your side to anchor the drink so it's not spilling everywhere. There's strategy. There's serious strategy to our dances. We can't keep clapping and flapping around. You know how much this drink costs?
I paid $35.
I got top shelf liquor. This ain't going nowhere. Every drop in my mouth.
I'm sitting down to make sure this is all getting drank.
I will suck it off my shoe if I have to.
Yeah, straight up. If I bought my wife a drink in the city that cost me double digits, which is 95% of drinks in the city,
right?
And she had the nerve to like want to dance mid-drink, like we fighting. Like, I don't got a problem with dancing that night. I don't got a problem buying you the drinks, but those don't go hand in hand. Like, you doing this now, and then we do that, or vice versa. Like, I ain't paying for the floor to drink.
It's going to be a very you can't leave the table until you finish your plate type of energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put a bib on, something like we getting all of this. We incorporating this whole thing.
Put a bib on. You're gonna put that. Yeah, can you serve that to me in a sippy cup, please?
Yeah, Shot, the first time my wife had a girls' night out after we got married, it was like it took a while because we had our kids back to back, so she went out with my homegirl Mel, and like an hour into their like girls' night, I start getting pictures from my homegirl, and she's like, "Yo, your wife is sloshed," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "We went to the movies. I think we was gonna keep it low key." And she whispers that she brought a whole bunch of sippy cups full of wine into the movie theater. So she had like all of my kids' sippy cups. Like she had like Elmo. She had like kids' sippy cups just filled with like Moscato.
Oh my God, that's so great.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I'm disappointed and proud all at once. Yeah, it was a great moment. So I'm with you. Sippy cups all day.
Yeah, we're gonna need that, especially because once we go out, we are going to be too overwhelmed with our senses will be overloaded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've only been, I mean, hopefully, not all of us, clearly, have only like been hanging with a few people here or there, or maybe you get into a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like it's different, and the club is supposed to be packed like that. That's part of the fun of the club,
Yeah.
but like it's gonna be a lot. So we're gonna be adrenaline's gonna be running high, and then we're gonna add liquor to that, and then we're just gonna start ripping the walls down immediately. We're not even going to wait for Nuck if you buck. We are knucking as soon as we get in. No need to buck. I am prepared to nuck.
I already know at some point this year, I'm going to punch somebody while aggressively putting on a mask on their face.
Okay,
I know
sure.
some point this year, somebody's going to not have their mask on and be too close to me. And I'm gonna have to correct that, and
I'm going to have to correct that.
It's gonna be at the wrong time, and like I just see myself just hitting them while like also holding the mask, and just being like, "You gonna put this mask on?"
So you're just gonna like smack it onto their
face repeatedly.
Wow.
First, directly applying it over the nose, and then incorporating the ears. But yeah,
well,
it's gonna be a thing.
Everyone out there, when you encounter Gastor, please have your mask on, because I feel like you will not want his assistance.
For your safety. The only workout I do is in my punching bag. Like that's all I do. You could outrun me, all of that. But if we in the club, even at 33% capacity, you gonna bump into people trying to get away from me. So if I catch you, it's gonna be like a real close encounter for your nose and this quilt and mask that I have in my pocket, because I'm gonna have extras. I'm gonna be ready.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah, like I care, I get it. I'm doing it for them, but for me too.
For everyone involved.
Suspects arrested in theft of Van Gogh and Hall's painting. You would know this one than I would.
Oh, let's see. I guess Hall's.
A man has been arrested in suspicion of stealing two paintings.
Oh?
One by Vincent Van Gogh and the another by Franz Hals.
Franz Hals.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say France.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Franz Hals. Yeah.
Hals.
Now that I see the France part, I think. Honestly, I never even heard of that dude.
They should have stole his shit. You know what I mean? Throwing that shit out. I don't know this dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's the chance you take when you're painting in like the 1800s or whatever.
Know what I mean?
That maybe someone in the future is going to steal your shit.
Should have painted a second L on your name so I could pronounce this nonsense.
To help us out.
Somebody stole two paintings from a museum in Netherlands. Van Gogh's The Personage Garden at Nguyen in Spring was taken from the Singer Lauren Museum in the town of Lauren, just outside of Amsterdam, in March last year during an overnight raid. The museum was closed at the time due to the coronavirus. The painting, created by the Dutch master in 1884, was on loan from another institution. And in August, Two Laughing Boys by a Dutch Golden Age master, Hals, was stolen from the Houwe in Leerdam, police said. Those last like five words kind of blended in, admittedly, for me.
Yeah. I remember hearing about how I feel like last year, no one really knew exactly how to open up, and museums were shut down. And so because they were closed, folks were like getting it in. Folks were breaking in and stealing art. And I was just like, I never would have, I don't think of many places that I want to break into and steal from anyway. I am not that person.
Right.
But I definitely would not have thought of
art.
A museum?
Hey.
I guess.
I mean, a lot of it makes sense in this terms of like, everything makes sense but the last part to me. Like, I like the fact that like, if you're going to steal it, it's usually small for the price. Like, this painting, the house one, is valued at 17.7 mil. You know what I mean? So I would assume that, like, of the things that cost that kind of money, this would be on the smaller side. Like, it's not a building. You know what I mean? I could see you, like, breaking in, putting this in a duffel bag. So I get that part of the theft. The part I don't get is, like, where you sell this at. You know, like...
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue is, like, are you a collector? Or do you just love these pieces? Because you can't take this to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't pawn it, and you can't go to another museum and go, "Hey, I got that Van Gogh." You know what I mean?
I got that Vanny for the low.
I got that Parsonage Garden. What you talking about? You know what I mean? Because I mean, first off, there will be an alert as to that one was stolen.
Yeah.
So you can't just go. And also, that's not how art is. Museums are not buying art off the street from a dude with a piece in a backpack. I will say this though: of the other piece that was by Halls or whatever his name is, old Franzi. Yeah. That has been stolen twice before.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So maybe that just don't want to be in a museum. Once from the same place. Someone stole it from the same museum before in 2011. Like, maybe it's just not that good of a piece.
Yeah.
Maybe it just shouldn't be in a museum. It should just be in someone's home.
At the very least, it's not that good of a museum. It's this.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they, you know, like, did they lock the door when they closed it?
Like, what are they doing over there? Be like, I get the first time, but you ain't learned yet. Like, that was a nap call back ago. Like, y'all could have locks.
And I feel like if they stole the same one again, like, that feels like a troll. Now you're fucking with me.
Yo, imagine if it's like
It's like, let's see if you're even paying attention that I'm going to take this one again.
I think that painting is some, like, art collectors, like, Sisterhood of Traveling Pants shit.
Yeah, perhaps.
I think so, Shot. Everybody gets a turn with it. But you got to steal it. And then they invite other rich people over to their house to just watch it in private.
It has been, at this count, with counting this, it has been stolen 3 times. So that's 3 out of the 4 girls.
I'm telling you, you can see that shit right now. It's what's homeboy that just bought the Mets? You gotta go to that billionaire's house. You gotta go over there to see that shit. Kim Kardashian West is officially a billionaire. This whole family, Jesus. Kim Kardashian West is joining the ranks of Jeff Bezos. No, she's not. That's a different level. Calm down there.
Come on.
Forbes getting reckless. Forbes announced their annual billionaires list this past week, which placed West on the elite list for the first time. The magazine said West's booming business, KKW Beauty and Skims, helped put her over the top to achieve the billionaire benchmark. Kardashian West launched KKW Beauty in 2017, and Coty acquired a 20% stake in the cosmetic line in a deal that valued the business at $1 billion.
Wait. Is it smart to have this announced while she's going through a divorce proceeding?
Hey, it's a good question. You're right. Okay, this is going to, like, really change that convo.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Kanye might be getting some money.
Would he, or would his pride get in the way? Do you think he would let pride stop him from getting alimony?
Only Kanye would. Yeah, you're right. Kanye would be the one. Yeah. I could see that. You're right. Kanye couldn't have that happen because that would mean he's not the greatest West of all time.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, you fucked up letting her take your name, bro.
It's over. Like, I could see, like, because I feel like Kanye, like, he would see Jerry West and talk shit to him, too. Like, you know, I don't care how many champions. Yeah, there's every dude named West. He's like, nope, I'm better than you, too. You know, I think he yells at his kids. Like, you going to be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th best West ever. You know what I mean? Because I'm Kanye.
Well, I mean, Kim Kardashian's getting ready to drop that West anyway, like, immediately. because it's the Kardashian that we know her for. So, I mean, I bet a lot of people didn't even know that she had West attached to it because I don't hear anyone saying Kim Kardashian West.
Yeah.
But I hear everybody saying Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, you're right. I actually think this is the first time I've heard it together.
Yeah. Which is why I'm like, who's behind? Like, this is, I mean, hooray for her, but who's behind this? Are her people behind getting this printed, or are his people behind getting it printed to help out the divorce proceedings?
Yo.
Or the divorce proceedings even, are they done?
Shouts to my co-host Shalewa Sharpe right there. I don't know if y'all saw that third eye open up right there. You saw that, yo? Behind the scene, reading the lines between the lines. That's why y'all tune in, okay? Real talk, yo. I do this show because I'm learning with y'all. I ain't seen none of those layers, and I picked this article, just so y'all know. That was dope.
I really hope that makes up for all of the Steve Harvey talk in the beginning of the show.
It enhances it, shot. It adds validity to the Steve Harvey talk even more. You know what I mean? Yeah, I actually, you sold me right there. I agree. This was Pusha T. I think he called Forbes and said, "Hey, listen, my man needs his money. I'm trying to put out an album, so Kim is worth $1 billion."
Yeah, because I mean it's rough. Like, all right, because like, all right, Kanye. It says down here, Kanye himself is worth a reported $6.6 billion.
That's just crazy
because of his clothing or whatever. So he's got more billions, sure. But it's like, because I know the Kardashian way is to put yourself on blast, right? But I'm sure her divorce lawyer is like, maybe downplay some things. And I'm sure Kim is like, what? But you may, that's not how I move. But you've got to do the strategic things in the press, and that Kardashian knows, but that means moves that are counterintuitive to it. And I don't know how much Kanye understands about, I mean, he understands how to work the press and that angle on some levels, but I wonder if he knows how to do it for something like this personal. And with a master, against the master. Like, I'm sure he learned a lot from watching her, but now he's got to go up against it.
Word.
I don't know.
Student versus the teacher type.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, this doesn't, now knowing that he's worth $6.6 billion, I don't know if this will help her case or his case, but it still is just like, why put it out there? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Bitch, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
What if this is like the real Watch the Throne too? You know what I mean?
I mean, it is. In a way, it is, for sure.
And shouts to CNN, putting up this article and very clearly using the wrong Kardashian picture.
Yeah, I looked at you. I was like, oh, shit, is that what Kim looks like now? Because, when I see a woman who is, I don't want to say brown. I think I want to say tan.
Yeah.
When I see someone who is clearly tanned and not quite, I mean, like, I guess pretty in the way that America has decided what pretty is.
Right.
So, I always assume, oh, that's probably one of those Kardashians or those Jenners, but I don't know which one. But I see now that that's a picture for the next story or something, but it's still the picture that's at the top of this story. And so I'm like, well, who the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's Kylie Jenner.
Okay.
So it's like still the same family, kind of, but very confusing if you're not entirely sure which Kardashian has what face now.
Yeah, I know Kim, I know her older sister, and then all of them look the same after that to me.
Wait, which one's the older sister?
The short one.
The short one. Okay, so not OJ's kid.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, so I know her too, yeah.
Yeah, but do you now? I mean, you'd only know if she's standing next to the other ones because she gets a new face roughly every 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, I can only tell because she's taller than the first three. The first two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, alone, I can't spot her. Like,
right.
I don't even know if she's a Kardashian alone usually. Like she looks like the first of the prototypes to me of
Right.
the generic pretty
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just the whole family has kind of transformed into this. This is what this is what we're doing for pretty right
Yeah.
now. And I mean, it comes with its own issues that we do not have time to get into today. But all I know is when I saw that picture, I was like, well, bitch, which one is that? Is that Kim? And it was not. No, it was Kylie. My bad. My bad. But thanks, CNN, for really confusing
Word
me.
up. I'm gonna be playing TLC on Pretty after this too. A rare Super Mario Brothers game sells for $660,000 after being forgotten in the desk drawer for almost 35 years. A sealed copy of a Nintendo video game, Super Mario Brothers, sold at auction on Friday for a whopping $660K. It's the most ever paid for a video game. The Dallas-based auction company said that the NES cartridge, which was purchased as a Christmas gift in 1986, was untouched until the seller found it earlier this year. It stayed at the bottom of my office desk this whole time since the day I bought it. I never thought anything about it. The unopened game was professionally graded by What Games and had a score of a 9.6 A+, which it called the finest copy known to have been professionally graded for auction. It is also one of the earliest copies of the game to be shrink wrapped instead of having a sticker seal, according to the auction company. Bang. Yeah, there's big money in keeping your toys and not playing with them, apparently. I'm assuming this guy had a either very depressing upbringing or the greatest upbringing ever. I can't tell. Like, either like you had the games and like you forgot this game, right?
Honestly, I think it's someone's daddy who bought the game, put it in his desk, fucking forgot he bought the game, and then the kid cried and cried, and then like the week after Christmas they went out and bought it. Like, I'm sorry, I just forgot. I thought I could have sworn I bought it for him, like that kind of thing. And so then they got one for the kid and everything's fine. And meanwhile, that one is just underneath all of his papers.
So do you think the kid should get some of this money?
No, because the kid got the game. I think the kid already got the game, but it wasn't that game. It was another one that they went out and bought because they were like, oh, God, he's going to kill us. We forgot to get this for him. I could have sworn I bought it, though. I'm sure it was a full month of the dad being like, I'm not getting this. I could have sworn I bought this. And his wife being like, just get the game because he's been crying nonstop for 3 weeks. And it's like, oh, fine. And then he went in and he bought it, bought another one. And here you go, kid, play with that one. And he's like, thanks, Dad. I just really built a whole scene for you. And then it turns out it's been in his desk the whole time.
That's what's up. I think I got some Yu-Gi-Oh cards like that for my son somewhere in my office. I'm going to look around, see if I can pay off this mortgage.
Don't look for them yet because, they're not old enough yet. You got to wait, like 40 years.
I'll be paid off by that. It's madness. I did it myself. I earned it at that point.
Yeah, so then you get to keep all the money from those cards.
Oh my God. Uber is ordered to pay $1.1 million after a blind woman was denied rides more than a dozen times. Uber has been ordered to pay off after an arbitrator ruled that the rideshare company's drivers discriminated against a blind woman and her guide dog on more than a dozen separate occasions. Lisa Irvin, a California resident, said she was denied rides or verbally abused by drivers 14 times between 2016 and 2018. She was awarded $324,000 in damages. And shouts to the attorneys and more than $800,000 in attorney fees and court costs. They'll get you.
Wow. Holy crap.
That's real.
But I wonder why they wouldn't, let's see here. The company disagreed with the award and said the community guidelines prohibited drivers denying rides to passengers with service animals. But I wonder if the drivers are still like, I'm not taking that dog in my car.
Yeah, I know. I drove for Uber, and I know that if they had a dog, I could say no as long as it wasn't that.
As long as it wasn't a service
Correct.
dog.
If it was a service dog,
Right.
I had to take the dog. But if it wasn't, I could say no. And then it was like, like stuff that I always carried in my car just because everybody said it was a service dog. It just wasn't worth the hassle of
Right.
like, show me the paperwork. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's type gangster. Like he's some like I don't know. I was maybe it was me, but I felt like I was like Uber driver with the heart of gold or something. Like I can't say no to a blonde lady with a guide dog. Like, that just seems rude.
Yeah.
Like I could see you saying no, like if you on the app and you see that they have a dog. Like I don't know why a Uber driver would Uber like passenger would post a picture of themselves with the dog and have glasses on, like really telegraphing all of that.
Well, I mean, just to let you know what you're in for. It's not just going to be me. It might also be this dog.
Like, that's super fair, but I don't know anyone that would do that. But like when you show up and you see the lady, like there's an interaction that happens, right? You open the door, you say, "Hey, are you this person?" And then you would say, "Hey, like I don't have space for the dog," and then they would say, "Well, it's a guide dog. Like, would you mind?" And then at that point, you could decide if you're a dick or not. Like, I don't know how that goes any other way. Like I feel like at that point, like you kind of read the situation, and for the most part, obviously there's people that like push the guide dog thing too far, but I feel like you could tell if someone's blind, so like during that interaction, I think you would know, oh, this isn't one of the fakers. Like, this is a real need here. So how do you say no? Like, I don't know. I was blown away that this happened 14 times. Like, I fully believe it happens, but like, I just like as a person who regularly is like, yeah, that's the right amount of cold-blooded. This felt like grease. Like, yo, like 14 drivers is like, nah, B, I ain't paying that cleaning cost. They charged me an extra $6 to vacuum. At the car wash, so you can't come in my car. I don't care if you can't see.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible that it just didn't look right to him?
14 times.
14 times is a lot to be like harassed.
Yo, you know who didn't look right for though? For her, she couldn't see. Like it did not look right for her at all. All 14 times she saw through their
14
bullshit.
times. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that I don't know. Who knows? Like that's a lot. It would take me like that's 2 years worth of times. It's 2 years. So that's 7 times a year?
Yeah, I that starts feeling more
that's
reasonable.
that's like what, every other month?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot. I mean, I had some instances with Lyft that put me off a Lyft for a while of just like just bullshit with when they're picking you up, or one guy looking me in the face as he pulled up and then just slowly pulling off.
Wow.
I'm just like, no. And I'm like, wow, I'm watching you drive away. I'm watching you on my app and I'm watching you, the actual car,
you seen a little
drive away. Yeah, like you didn't even stop the thing. You know what I mean? And like having to just, and then having to like do the whole customer service thing, taking it to Twitter because that seems to be the only way that works and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it was usually just me, or it wasn't me and my seeing eye dog.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, just I don't know. Again, I know I have like, I feel like in life I try to have a positive outlook, but like I had a really high rating as a driver. I drove saving up money from like my album recording stuff. So I was driving a lot before the first album, and I couldn't drive in the city because you need a different license for that. So I was driving in like the boondocks of Long Island because I only had a regular license.
Okay.
So I don't know any of these hoods like at all, you know?
Right.
So like I would say at least once every 2 shifts, I would do something wild illegal. That was it was unintentional. It's just I didn't know I couldn't do that here. You know? So
Right.
like, for example, I know there was a day I was driving a dude home. I made a left onto a 2-way street, but the 2-way street was like 9-10 lanes. So when I made the left to what I thought was the furthest point possible, turns out it was just the furthest of this direction of oncoming traffic. So I very much drove into traffic and I kept talking normal, like nothing happened. And the dude, like, he's looking at me, he's like, hey, you know you're going against traffic right now. I was like, yeah, I hear you. It happens. You know,
I hear you. It happens.
You know, my bad. I'm gonna get us out into the other thing. But now that I'm already here, there's like the divider was too high for me to just drive over it. So you know, I'm like, I hear you. We gonna get through this together. And I had to drive like 3 blocks carefully against traffic before like an inner thing opens up that lets me go across. And shot, you know, that's the lowest rating I ever got on Uber. I still got 3 stars. You know, so like that, like, but that, like, to me, I'm like, yo, like, how bad are the other Uber drivers out there that like somebody watched me almost kill them and dealt with it for 2.5 blocks, and he was like, nah, this is still like an average experience on Uber.
Well, I mean, because I think what makes people reluctant to give like 1 star or anything like that is because I don't. When do you guys rate the passenger?
Yeah.
Okay. When do you rate the passenger?
The earliest you can is after they've rated you, if I remember correctly at the time.
Exactly. So a lot of people are trying to keep their high rating. And if they rate the driver low, they're worried that the driver will rate them low. Because I think that's actually what happened to me on Lyft for a while. Was I think some driver rated me low because they did some fucked up shit. And I got in it, and I was in the car, and I was like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" You know. And they're like, "Oh no, I thought I'm doing the," and it's like, "No, you passed the thing. Sure, you need to do." You know, I don't necessarily know my way around, but I bet if someone put me in a car and they were like, "Drive to a thing," I'll figure it out just from watching. What I think a lot of Lyft drivers don't know with me is I'm following along on the app. Right. So I'm seeing when you're doing something, so I called this dude out for going a wrong way and trying to take me somewhere, which has happened in even larger and bigger ways from that guy. And I think that guy, I think I rated him like 4 stars because I was like, at least I'm alive, you know? And I think he gave me a low rating because of that. And so then for a while, I wasn't getting any car, like no one would accept my request. And I'm like, I'm looking at all these cars in the area and no one would accept my request. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if my rating is low for some reason. But at that time, Lyft didn't let you see what your rating was.
Right.
And so I was just like, well, I have no way of knowing, but I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like changing the name and putting a white person's face up there or changing the name, you know what I mean? Or a son, you know, so that they don't know what they're picking up. And then I get in and they're mad it's not the white person that was in the pick. You know what I mean? Like it's too confusing, I think, to me. It's just the name Shalewa, and this is the face, and that's who's getting in your car, so you know. And yeah, so I think that might be why. I think ultimately, because in every story we read that's written about the Uber drivers or anything, it's just like if you give them like a 4 or 3, it takes their numbers down so bad that at the end of their shifts, they pull them into a garage and then they just beat them with bamboo sticks. So you shouldn't give them a low rating.
Yeah,
I've had like rides where I'm like, I think this dude's trying to kidnap me, and I text my roommate, and he's showing me how to turn on my location on my phone, and I gave the dude like 3 stars, and then wrote this screed as to what was wrong, what he did wrong, like to the company and all this other kind of shit. I was writing all of that like in my notes app while he was driving all over fucking Brooklyn while yelling at him. And you know what I mean? But I still was just like, if I give him no star, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Listen.
If I, because then he turned off. It was a whole thing. But yeah, so I think we're kind of trained to not do that if we're even aware of that.
Yeah, I had great ratings, and all I did was just like get lost repeatedly. I got people that safely, except for the once a shift.
Right.
I no one could say I was trying to milk it, because if anything, I was being too direct with the lines I was taking. I was going against traffic to get you there faster.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's probably not as much of a selling point as it is. But I'm trying not to engage with them because I'm a woman coming back late at night from someplace, and I'm if it's that late, I'm having you drop me off like pretty close to my house, like a door or 2 down, because I don't want you seeing where I'm going in, but I also don't want to walk in my neighborhood for a few blocks because I don't want you to see where I am.
Right.
And and you're just trapped in that car, and it is kind of scary.
That's fair.
Coming from a show. So you just give them the fucking 5 stars, because they're like, sometimes dudes will put the kids lock on, and they won't let you out of the car until you say, yes, I'll give you 5 stars.
There's some creepers out there in this world, yo.
Yeah, it's real scary out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, on behalf of just people that suck today.
Yeah. So, I mean, if she's coming in, she's blind and she got a dog, I mean, I'm sure folks are being real reckless with her, thinking how does she even know how to work the app? You know what I mean? Like,
man, it's some basura people in this world. Yeah. Let's see here. 6-year-old boy claims he found a bullet in hot Cheetos. It is amazing.
Oh my God.
I love that Frito-Lay calls it troubling. No shit.
Yeah, you think that's an issue? Oh my God.
Valhorn Weasel of Elmo, Montana. Are those real words? Okay.
Valhorn.
Valhorn Weasel.
Bowhorn?
Bowhorn. Okay. I mean, I guess
Bowhorn Weasel of Elmo, Montana.
Yeah.
Okay.
He bought a bag of chips Saturday at a local convenience store, and his 6-year-old son broke it open Easter Sunday for a little spicy chow down. We're told the boy found the bullet at the bottom of the bag after devouring the chips. The bullet appears to have hot Cheetos red coating on it. Bo scoffs at the doubters, saying a bullet didn't just drop out of the sky into the bag, and don't even get him started with people who think the whole thing is made up. He reached out to Frito-Lay on Facebook and also fired off an email. He claims it wasn't long before the company rep reached out with a specialist who told Bo they're taking the matter seriously. They're sending him a kit for some sort of testing. This is definitely a guy that shot something, and his wife saw this bullet, and he needed, I think he shot something before, and his wife found out, and this time he was like, nah, that was in the Cheetos, and he just yelled at his son about it.
I think Cheetos has been being very aggressive with their flaming hot branding and their flaming hot seasoning.
Okay.
There are so many flaming hot things right now that don't need to be flaming hot. You know what I mean? I got to think about my GI tract. I can't just be making everything hot for no reason. And so I think that they're just like, I don't know, flaming hot ammo?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I truly, I mean, at this point, well, you know what? Like, factories have been operating during this whole COVID thing for a year. just willy-nilly. You know what I mean? And probably losing people and just hiring folk, and they're just like, just wash your hands at least once a day. Come on in and make our chips.
It's good.
And then they just coat everything with. I mean, like I'm fully expecting to find someone's ID, a flaming hot driver's license.
You imagine like when you coming into work at security, and they're like, you got to check in on your medals before you go through. And they're like, hey, do I got to take out all my bullets? At least most of the bullets. You know what I mean?
I think there's so much going on, I bet, in our food factories, and especially the flaming hot ones, which I'm assuming is made in a different facility than all of the other things. I feel like all the flaming hot items are made in one separate building off to the back.
Let's do it.
And they're just sprinkling that flaming hot shit on everything and just bagging it up.
Hot Cheetos and Takis.
That video.
That Joe was hard. Them kids
it really did go hard. Yo. That was a great posse cut.
Real
Hot Cheetos and Takis.
Like every kid that I was like, all right, this is gonna be the whack kid that they put him in as a courtesy. Never happened. Every kid went hard. Every
kid was on top of it. It's like, oh, this is the Busta of the group. Yep. Oh, this is the Nas of the group. This is like every person played their part. It was really perfect.
It was there. I loved it. I am here for the hot, flaming hot movement. I'm waiting for the flaming hot Cheeto cereal. You know, somebody get on that. I want to start the day off like it.
That's absolutely going to happen before the end of this year.
I could see it, just like because I want to see my cereal turn red. You know, I feel like I think it's the only thing left.
It's the only thing. That is one of the bleakest statements I've ever heard, Gastor. It's the only thing left. Flaming hot cereal milk. It's all I have.
Oh man, I can't wait. Know what I
mean? Yo, I think I just got heartburn hearing you say that.
Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. Finally, DoorDash drivers gamed the algorithm to increase their pay. Dave Levy and Nikos Canella-Polis are trying to beat the algorithm. The two DoorDash drivers, as the Dashers, as the company calls them, pardon me, are trying to persuade their peers to turn down the lowest paying deliveries, so the automated system for matching jobs with drivers will respond by raising the pay rates. Every app-based on-demand company's objective is to constantly shift profits from the driver back to the company. Our objective is to reverse that. Their main tool is hashtag Decline Now, a 40,000 person online forum that provides a view into the type of labor activism tailored for the gig economy. While there's no reliable way to quantify its impact, hashtag Decline Now's members say they've already increased pay for workers across the country, including Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley, where Levy and Canella-Polis live. But the effort raised difficult questions about the nature of the collective action, and there are reasons to doubt it.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Hey, talk to me.
I'm going further down in the piece that you're reading because I'm like, I don't understand what it is that they're doing. Okay, so I just found a paragraph that says, the pair noticed that when one DoorDash driver declined a delivery, the platform would offer it to another for slightly more money. Yep. As independent contractors, there was nothing obliging them to take these orders, so they figured Dashers could band together to set a de facto minimum pay rate. In a relatively small market such as Lehigh Valley, it didn't take many people declining low-paying jobs to make a significant difference. Bang, bang. Then I said, that's it. That's the name. Why don't you just decline now? Got it. Okay. They really should have moved that further up in the story because I didn't understand exactly how they were gaming the system. And they went straight into like, but what about the strategy and the software and that? No. What were they doing? Facts. Like, how did this work?
Yeah, come on, Bloomberg. Step your game up, B.
Yeah.
Into the data.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how
they're basically trying to reject everything that is under $3. And they want to raise it until it's at least $7 for delivery.
Gotcha.
That's their goal. So if you get a delivery and it says like $3-4, reject it until they raise it to a $7 request, and then then they'll take it.
All right, so it'll just take me a little longer for my food to get here because I'm waiting for them to jack up the
price,
the payment, the price for them. Okay, I mean that's fine because I'm sure by the time I've ordered food, I'm like this will take an hour or something. I've pushed accept. It's now up to them.
It is in your hands.
I'm a very zen like I'm not gonna. It's just like, hey, I'm taking this chance. Here we go.
It is in your
every
hands.
time I order.
I do the subscription on Seamless, but I tip because I realize like the subscription removes all of that. Like I paid $120 for the year, but I get no delivery fees. So like it doesn't matter who it is, no company, I don't get charged a delivery fee, even if they have like a crazy one. But in turn, I don't know how that gets broken down for the driver. Like, I think I would assume in the past they would have got the delivery fee. Now I don't know.
I don't think they do
now. Like, I don't know how that works. So I tip.
Yeah.
I hope that balances it. The other thing I haven't figured out is with places like Applebee's, for example, where like when you order and you tip and they deliver through like a DoorDash, who gets the tip?
Yeah, I mean that's a thing too. I've seen where people are like, if possible, if you want the tip to go to the driver, if there's a cash option, pick that and then just tip them in cash, or still give them a few bucks cash, even if you've put in a tip for the thing, because there's a way of them not getting their complete tip.
Yeah, like it's confusing,
Yeah,
I try to do right by that. I feel like just in general, anybody that touches my food, I want to be nice to.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to do that in whole, and especially places that like are local, because I don't want to cook ever. So like you're gonna get to know me, So like I don't want you to remember me as a bad tipper, and then I'll never get good food. So I tip well locally. In particular, plus it's smaller businesses, so these are people that know me and can spit in my food more often. So be friendly to those people. They're saving you.
Please be friendly.
I haven't had to wear real pants in a year and a half because of these people, and I appreciate them very much. But yeah, I wish there was more clarity in terms of how those things work. I wish we could just do this up top. Like, yo, listen, y'all just get the $7. They gotta play this silly game.
Right.
It's unfortunate. But I do like that they are figuring these things out. Like, I remember there was like some college kids that like tricked Waze a couple years ago by pretending there was a car accident. Like, they just had a whole bunch of friends meet at an intersection, and they wanted to see if they could make Waze not go there. So they just all reported an accident, and Waze started diverting traffic away. It's pretty ill. Like, how...
That's super smart.
Like, what I thought of, real talk? I thought about throwing a block party and just having everybody report an accident. You know what I mean? That way I wouldn't have to go to the city for, like, the cones and pay, like, the fee.
Yeah, but won't the cops eventually show up? Like, we keep hearing there's an accident, and it's just y'all.
I mean, they gonna see nothing. They'll be like, oh, yeah, they cleaned it up. They left. You know what I mean? I can't get blamed for what's on the app. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm barbecuing. I'm my own grill.
So you want it to look like a block party, but not to really look like a block party. And so you just want to...
I just don't want cars driving through.
The traffic. Yeah.
So that way, my kid could, work on his crossover and play in the fire hydrant and not get run over. So I feel like if me and all of the parents like report that there's an accident on Waze won't send any cars down our block because it'll think there's an accident and they could just play freely.
Okay, right. I mean, I feel like this will not work, but for some reason, I just feel like it's not. It won't be as effective as one would hope. but you could give it a shot.
Hey, listen.
You could give it a try and see if someone won't just get annoyed and actually call the cops on it. I mean, which may be the case, that people are just like, I don't know, he's just trying to bootleg his way into a block
You
party.
know it.
I mean, I also feel like you could just go ahead and get cones from like Home Depot.
I can. You know how many like city construction equipment things I have in my backyard already? I got like stop signs. I got no parking sign. I got everything. And I ain't even talking like the sign. I got the green pole that the sign hangs on. I got everything. You know, so
See,
I could do all this. I got the sweeping Monday, Wednesday, Friday sign. I got everything. I could put up all types of signs on my block.
I mean, I feel like you could put up some cones if you have a vest, the reflective vest.
Yeah, I keep that in my trunk.
You can put that on somebody, and if a cop just comes by and like, what's going on? And they could just be like, some work. And if you just say it in the same kind of like, they'll just be like, all right, and let's keep it moving. You know what I mean?
That's how I used to get to my spots for comedy. Whenever I got whenever I had a show in the city, I would just park my car and I would put cones, and I had these the wooden blocks that they put like to not allow people to cross. I would pull them out of my trunk. But I got the Pathfinder. I got space, so I would put them in front of the fire hydrant, so it looked like that shit don't work, and I would run in, do my spot, come out. Now, I didn't want there to be a fire, so I would only do this if I had a spot. Like, I'm coming in for 15, I'm out.
Right,
but
gotcha.
I would put up the cones, and I knew, like, it don't work. You know what I mean? So I could park it, and I would run in, do my set, come back out.
Now, did that work for you every time you attempted it?
I never got a ticket. I did sets all over the city. I'm talking like stand up, and I was in Midtown, Uptown, everywhere. I got the idea by accident because I got it in Queens, and it was there was wooden blocks there for some other like construction, so I moved them over to the hydrant, and then I always keep cones in my car, for an accident. So I put them out, and I was like, oh, this kind of works, and I ain't get no tickets, so I'm like, all right,
wow.
And I just got progressively like more like like brave with the idea.
I just want you to harness some of this good for for good. Like, I want this power that you have.
I see hustles.
The ability to just your hustle. I just want to channel it. I just want to make sure that for every questionable thing, we're doing a good thing. That's all. I just want that kind of ratio.
I donate a lot of money. I do that. I feel
that's
like,
good.
Admittedly, I've learned that, like, I agree with you, Shy. Like, you should spend equal energy on good. I just know that doesn't inspire me, and it's not gonna come out of my heart. It's not gonna come out like I don't see in my heart. I like seeing the little things that somebody could do crooked. I don't necessarily always want to do them, but I know that I see them. So whenever I do one, I give money because it's like, somebody is out there like me that sees all the good things, and they want to do those. So I'm gonna give him $1 and help him get closer to doing that. Because nothing's stopping me out here from doing mine. So I don't want something stopping him, and balancing the karma of the world.
Well, that works too. I mean, if you're able to cut a check every time you do something shady, then that's fine. That's another type of tithing.
That's my reasoning.
That's impressive.
I really try to give back and balance that out. I feel like, all right, this is I did this set, I made $50, $10 is going to the Goodwill. You know what I mean? Y'all do what y'all gotta do out there, give somebody a t-shirt, whatever you could do to make the world a little better while I risk the fire on this block to tell these jokes.
Because my jokes are just as important as whatever good deed you're doing.
It's more, I don't know. It might be. It's debatable. If you'd like to help me, do ride sharing instead of parking illegally in the city, Now that things are opening up. Please like and subscribe to the show. If you have any news articles you'd like us to cover, please DM us directly at Silky Jumbo, at Gastor Almonte on Twitter or Instagram. We'd love to cover any articles you guys have in mind. If you're an Apple listener, please rate us. Always appreciate the 5-star ratings. We passed over 50 ratings. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are freaking dope for it. With all that said, my name is Gastor Almonte. Always with the homie Shalewa Sharpe. Catch y'all next week. This has been another War Report. Peace.